Can you hear me? Let's see. Can you hear? Okay, we're good. Yeah, good. Okay, we're good. Alright then, we're back to the Overflow station. First things first is we're gonna start off by, well, beyond making it so that the floor receives some of the light from the lamps. What we're going to do here today is, just a few simple background details. I don't want to go over too long into Carl's pirate stream. Especially not when, a Wonk later today is doing her Wonky Talk stream. And, yeah. What we're going to do today is we're not really going to do much of anything specifically to do with texturing or building out a model for the actual station itself. The next thing we're going to be doing is we are going to create a plane. You might be wondering, what are we going to do with this plane? Besides, make it big. Well, we'll explain that by the name of it. This is going to be our water geometry basin. Yes, that is right. We are building ourselves a water geometry. And water geometries are, how do we say, complicated? Very complicated. Yeah. Don't know whose accent I was doing there for a moment. I think I was getting close to Michi's, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, water, water basins. We need for starters, we need to figure out where our water line is going to be. And honestly, I've not figured that out entirely yet. And it will probably change somewhere in between here and into the cylinders, but that's fine. So let's think about the docks here for a moment. What height do we really want or need the water to be at? And I think I like the water line being right about here. Yeah, I think I like the water line being about there. We're going to extrude out this, and then we're just going to scale it out, and we're going to roughly pull out to the shapes of the docks that we want. We're going to roughly match out the shape of the docks, and we're going to roughly, we're going to roughly figure this out. We're going to, I'm going to go a little into the model here, just because, the model of the docks, at least, just because, mostly the issue that we're going to have with a water geometry is making sure that the water is rendering in exactly the places we want it to render. And we want the top rim of our water geometry to be a big flat plane, as flat as physically possible. So that's why I'm doing this. Question is, how far out should I? The worst part here is that I don't have a piece of geometry to get in the way, which Agira has. The hoods do not have a water geometry as far as I'm aware. They kind of fake it kind of like how it looks right now, but for up close, like we have with the fairy docks, we're going to need a physical geometry. Oh. So yeah, we're just gonna we're just gonna try to make this fit as best as we can within the gaps we have here. And it's okay if we go a little over and we have some overlap here at the docks with the physical geometries, because we don't want to see gaps where the water isn't meeting up with the physical geometries. So yeah, we basically just want to get this figured out. And this is probably going to be the most complicated part of the geometry as far as the weird shape of it goes, because everything else, I think, can be handled fairly well, I think. This is... Let's see here. Where is that lined up? Almost. Set that to 3D cursor mode. There we go. Okay. And then, boop. And then stretch out. Make sure. There we go. And we're gonna do the same thing. Development. There. I'm just gonna make this. Yep, there we go. I'm just gonna try and make this about as even as that could be. I have no idea if that's overlapping anything or not. We'll deal with it. We will deal with it. Ostensibly, I could have just made a big flat plane under there and it would be fine, but then we would have water animations playing underneath and it wouldn't look consistent with the physical world because the water would be playing as if those aren't there. So for the water to animate, to look like it's really coming up against the edges of those things, we really just need the water to, we need the water to be told to animate as if there's something in its way to, blocking it. And then, boop. And just gonna pull that up there. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so we're gonna take these next. Actually, no, I'm just gonna take this one next. And then I'm just gonna extrude it out. And you'll notice I am being exceedingly careful to try and grab it by the arrows rather than by the center point of the thing. Because if I grabbed it by the center point of the thing, I might accidentally introduce a height variable, which I do not want there to be a height variable. Because height variables are going to screw with things. And we do not want to screw with things, especially when it comes to making a flat surface. for water, which seems kind of counterintuitive, right? You're making a flat surface for the top of a water geometry. What's up with that? Well, you'll see what's up with that. I mean, an animated water geometry is basically a shader. And to have the top, and to have it ripple and stuff, well, there will be more settings we'll get into later. But to have a water geometry ripple and play around like it's first off, you need the flat plane to know exactly the height of where the base water will render. And then you'll see later, but basically what we're going to end up having happen is the water geometry is going to sort of, oh, see, I grabbed it by the wrong arrow there, so we gotta pull that. Basically, what we're going to end up having happen here is our water geometry is going to render the bounciness generally not on the flat plane itself, but by how the bottom of the terrain is going to be. We're making the top bit of it flat, and we have to have the edges flat so that it renders properly. But underneath that flat edge, it's going to be a big old bowl of weird-looking geometry. Solid here. Okay, we're about to hit here. This is where things are getting complicated. I'm gonna extrude it out again. I'm gonna tilt it like this, and then I'm gonna come in with our knife tool, knife, and we're going to do that. Control T to triangulate. And now I don't need to be too exact on this because people aren't supposed to be in here, but I'm going to be prepared just in case people are. We're going to hit extrude. We're going to pull this along about here. We're going to pull this along, get that lined up. Again, I don't need to make this too exact for in here, but since this is going to come along into here, I may have eyeballed the height of this correctly. I may have just eyeballed the height of this correctly. We will see. If not, I'm going to have to adjust the alignment of it a bit. But that's easy enough to do. Hi everyone, Editor Future Me here with an explanation for what's about to happen. See, I'm taking advantage of the unfortunate Wi-Fi breakage here to slip in an edit to say you're going to see a lot of wacky stuff with the lighting and all that. I'm going to be very, very confused. But what you need to pay attention to is this little bit here. So if you see, if I jump here, you'll see that the scale is now lit up in yellow. And if I keep going, you'll see that a lot of things are continuing to be in yellow. And I've been going through, and yeah, this, for whatever reason, I think when my internet crashed out yesterday during the stream, and I'm recording this the day after, I think when my internet crashed out, I must have hit some key combination that globally applied a single keyframe of animation for scale to every single object that exists in the age. And what that means is that what you're about to see in the rest of this VOD from yesterday is, well, let me just say that you're going to see a lot of hints on it. Just keep an eye out on this scale value right here, because you're going to see specific items that are going to flare up and give me issues during the stream to come, that are going to have issues due to the inappropriate one-frame animation of scale being applied to every single object that exists in the age file. So yeah, that's been my night last night, and a little bit of today. Nothing else to see here. I'm just gonna keep on, well, keeping on fixing this little thing right here. Yep. Okay then, I will, turn you back over to Past Me. Bye! Am I back? Please say I'm back. Oh, I'm back! Okay, so, my Wi-Fi is choosing today, choosing the last few days to be, a bit, unfortunately, how do I say, it's being a struggle. It's being such a struggle. And I've been having it struggle and disconnect on me for like the last few days. Like it stutters and stops and starts and stops, and I may have to call this stream early because that just is going to cause a big old break in my that's going to cause a big old break in my video that I'm now going to have to edit. I'm so sorry for the interruption in the stream there, folks. Wi-Fi, why does it have to be so, why does it have to be so annoying? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some editing on the VOD to make that work, because that's, yeah, that's annoying. I don't like doing editing on the VOD. It's just a lot of work. But yeah, I may have to, yeah, I may have to work with that. Sorry, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi the last couple days. It's just been acting up like that. It's really annoying when you're video gaming and that happens, and, yeah, it's very annoying when that happens. On brighter news, because this is a flat chamber with a flat bottom, we will not need to put any fancy ripple stuff when it comes to making this part of the chamber. I think what I will do, yeah, I'm going to break this off by selection. And then I'm going to give you a taste of what we're doing here. We're going to hit extrude, and we're going to pull it down all the way to the... I'm just going to pull it under the bottom of the chamber like this. And anyway, then this one is going to be set to the fan tunnels. And now you're going to notice I'm going to go boop. I'm going to select all of those nice flat faces from the top layer. And we're just going to delete the faces. And now we have a basin, a very flat basin. And this is going to a water geometry basin, mixer, This is mixer L, no, mixer R. Mixer, I'm just mixer 1. I don't care to get the names of them right now. And then, I can then duplicate this again. Object, transform, geometry to origin. Nope. Object, transform, origin to geometry. There we go. I'm gonna pull this over to here, and then I'm gonna transform the mesh by mirroring it on the Y global. There we go. And we're just gonna spin that around by 180. No, R, Z, 180. There we go. And then, because it's inside out, I'm recalculating it, flipping the direction of the mesh. I'm gonna pull it in here. Hey, look at that, almost a perfect fit. Anyway, so we now have those figured out. But you may notice now that because we have a big ol' gap here, we're going to need to address that where the two meshes meet. And I won't do that today. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to put in a big metal... we're going to put in a wireframe grate here to sort of filter out big chunks of things that should not be in there. Like, we're going to put a big metal gate at the end of this tube to filter out chunks from the into things. But yeah, so, in case we... Yes, Mixer. Yes, hi, Wonk. You just missed the exciting OBS disconnect because my internet is being flaky. But yeah, so we put the, yeah, so we're kind of building out the water geometry basin for the overflow station. And this may end up being a 2-part stream where I pick this up on Monday because my Wi-Fi is being silly. A silly Billy. And yeah, I don't want to deal with my Wi-Fi being silly while I'm on stream. It's annoying. I mean, it happens, but, it is annoying, you know? Anyway, so I'm gonna mess with the geometry here a bit. There we go. And if I pull that to about there, yep, there we go. That should be, yeah, that should do the trick for that. Anyway, like I was saying in the... Ooh, super flaky cookies I want. Ah, that makes me hungry for cookies. The only cookies I have right now are a bunch of the mint, flavored fudge cookies from Keebler and, some store-bought chocolate chip, really big chocolate chip cookies. I've just not been in the mood for making cookies properly myself lately. I've been a bit lazy, in case people can tell. But that's fine. Nobody needs to know about that. Anyway, so because I don't expect people to see into this area legitimately, I'm barely actually going to extrude any of the water geometry into it. And I'm going to do, like I said, a very lazy job of it. In it goes, and yeah. If people can get it around to see in there, that's fine. We'll see how this works later. Yeah, we'll see. And I really don't need to extrude it past here because people are not going to be able to see it. But I do need to have some continuity where it doesn't just fade out of, where it kind of just doesn't fade out of sight. We don't want it to just abruptly, we don't want it to just abruptly end, you know? We want it to kind of, oop. No, like, okay, I did that right. I almost panicked for a moment, but we did not. There's no need to panic. We did it correctly. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna roughly do the exact same thing over here. We're just gonna... I'm just gonna make sure that the water line just doesn't abruptly end from our point of view. So I tend to make my water go just a little bit beyond what is actually visible, or what should be visible. I don't actually know how much of this is going to be visible until I actually, get in game and see it as the full water geometry, but hey, that does not actually matter at the moment. And we're just going to extrude this out. Oh, let's see here. My problem now is going to be, where does it end? How do I end it? How do I end it? And like I was just alluding to in the first half of the stream, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'm just gonna swipe some geometry from here. Solid, yeah. I'm just gonna swipe some geometry here. Don't worry, it won't be an exact copy-paste. I'm not that creatively bankrupt. Ooh, actually, hold on. I just had an idea. It'll probably look a lot nicer. Oh yeah, that'll do. That'll give us some interesting geometry to look at. Yeah. I know what I'm doing now. Okay. Yeah, we'll pull that down a bit. There we go. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna... And yes, I'm well aware this will no doubt require me to retexture everything again, but when you're out here on the docks and you want to look out, you're gonna have to see stuff that's gonna be weird looking. Anyway, back to what I was originally going to do. Yeah, let's go back to my total face selection here. Boop. I'm just gonna select a bunch of these faces here. Boop, 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 boop. And oh. There we go. Should do the trick. I'm going to do the tools, duplicate, by selection. We're going to go to object, transform, origin to geometry. And then I'm just going to kind of randomize the vertexes a bit, and then I'm going to smooth it, and I'm going to randomize, and then smooth. Okay. So what this will end up doing for us is giving us some interesting geometry in our path. And I'm going to need to adjust the lamp lighting to make that work better. Yeah, just gonna, there we go. Pull it down like that. Go back to solid so I can see what we're doing. Anyway, what the point of this is just to create a little bit of landmass that I don't have to draw too much effort into putting. No. That I don't have to put too much effort of drawing water past. Yeah. Over here, yeah, we'll see the edge of that. So what we need to do is take the edges of here and we'll stretch them back a bit, extrude and stretch them out a bit. And then we're just gonna come along the top here. Just gonna stretch that down, stretch that out. And this piece of geometry is not going to need collision on it, so we're going to remove the collision modifier. Yeah, okay. The question will be, can we actually see anything on the top of it? I'm going to say we're probably going to be able to have to see the top of it just for consistency's sake. But we will worry about that later. We're gonna do the exact same thing here, and we're just gonna stretch it on back and stretch it on out. Yeah. okay. Brings me back to here. I'm going to need to select these faces and extrude them out a bit like so. Yeah, that'll do a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to our water geometry. And I'm going to grab this point. I'm going to bring it over to here. Then we're just going to extrude this out this way. And if we're lucky enough from any reasonable sight line, it will look like it just is, we're seeing it hit the horizon point rather than just suddenly ending. We don't want our water to just suddenly end. Nope, nope, nope. We do not want the water to just suddenly end. So we're just going to match the edges of this geometry up as best as we can to our little shore front thing here. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to pull this out to here. Then we're going to select these faces. Yeah, the mint cookies are really good, I do like mint cookies. They are fun. They are chocolatey. Okay. In any reasonable world, that would probably be enough, but I'm going to make sure that it continues to be reasonable by, at the very least, follows along the visible up. Wow, that gives me a hard answer. Anyway, that's the edge of the world sphere. Yay! So we have a hard limit there. Man, look at that. Did not realize we were that close. Yeah, okay. So, I'm going to leave that like that for the moment, because I'm now going to come along to our blue RT light here, and as much as it pains me to do so, I'm going to have to get rid of my clever angled lighting, because that's probably what's giving me issues with the stairs. So we're going to adjust the x-axis here, and we're going to make this come as straight down as physically possible, which should now more evenly illuminate everything. Over here, tab, Control A, rotation and scale, tab, smart UV unwrap, and then nope, make that a cube project. There we go. And now that should give us some visual interest there. Still bugs me though, so I'm gonna do a creation of a plane. And this plane, this plane is going to come back here. And what this plane is going to be... It's going to be a billboard. And... This is going to be the outside area. So... I'm going to create a new texture. This is going to be billboard distant city stuff. And yes, that is the technical name for it. Anyway, then I'm going to go back into my textures folder real quick. Islam, let's see, where's that folder? Ah, there it is. Islam City Backdrop Dark is what I want, I believe. Yeah. Open, PNGs. EFGH. Islam, I want city backdrop 2, okay. Tab, reset, and then I'm going to make this shadeless. I'm going to just stretch that out a bit like so. You might be thinking, oh boy, that's a little... You might be thinking, oh boy, that's a little, flat for a background. And you're right, it is flat. Which is why it's not going to remain flat. We're going to subdivide this and subdivide it again. We're going to select our flat line here. We're going to pull this back. We're going to set this to plane mode, and we're going to pull this back a bit. There we go. I'm going to pull that down a bit. Okay. Pull this up. I'm going to rotate. Actually, I need to see how this is going to look. Our X, we're going to rotate that inwards. Take that a bit more like that. And then we're going to select our bottom planes here. And we're going to rotate by the X-axis. Actually, I'm going to pull it forward, actually. I'm just going to pull it forward. Yep, okay. Material, okay. And now, I'm going to select all of our faces here in our UV mesh. Islam City backdrop. Okay, so we have that whole big section in the middle that is kind of just really just kind of unnecessary, and I want to have a bigger view of things. I'm gonna select these now. I'm gonna pull this up a bit. So, yeah. I'm now realizing that this dunny background sphere is probably very actually unnecessary, but I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to remove it at this stage, and it could cause me problems if I did remove it, so I'm not going to remove it. Anyway, so I'm just going to pull that up a bit more. Yeah. Anyways, the idea here is to, Now, I've not done anything with the lake yet. I'm not, in fact, I'm going to disable it from exporting at this moment because I'm not ready to do anything with it yet. we're going to test the age, and I want to check A, the lighting, and B, I want to check the new backdrop we just put in. Oh boy, that's a little flat for a background. Yeah, it was very, very flat. The trick that Cyan does for their backgrounds like this is just to curve them. It gives it just a little bit of 3D to the flat background, and it makes it a lot more believable. A whole lot more believable. It's not to say you can't get away with a big flat background if it's really far in the distance, though. Just in my wanting to make this a cavernish area, we just are dealing with that. Okay, so let's finish linking in. Oh boy, I forgot to, enable that big ol' mesh. Didn't I? Yes, I did. Because, yeah, you can see the flat seam there, which, not at all what I... Wait a second. No, it's there. It's just it's scaled absurd huge and not rendering where I wanted it to render. Yay. Okay. Yeah, it is a very, very pretty background. Frick. What's that? That's what happened. I added a scale modifier to it. That's what went wrong. There we go. Control A, rotation and scale. There. That's what went wrong. I accidentally scaled that thing super huge somehow without realizing it. So let's export that again. So let's try that again and make sure that that big rock piece is exactly where it should be, huh, shall we? Yeah, it's a very pretty background, and Cyan did some really, really pretty backgrounds for their cavern locations, and this is a place where I decided, let's do something that isn't just the same generic distant Agira in the background cityscape drop that Cyan kind of uses everywhere. And so I decided to use this one, and it's a very, very pretty backdrop, and it should lend some unique feeling to this particular cavern area. Oh, there we go. That's a tad better, although, the heck just happened to my base texture? Okay. Whatever, Blender. Whatever. I'm gonna need to extrude the edges, I think, but in a moment, ignore, if I just, like, cover those sides of that and just ignore the sides, that looks really, really good with the big old rock in front of us and then the distant stuff in the background. Like, that feels like a cavern view that nobody's really, seen before. Like, it's got a, like, that's gonna be a very custom feeling thing. A very, very pretty background. So yeah, I'm just gonna separate these off to their own objects. Their own texture objects. Control annotation and scale. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to do the Q project because this needs something to fix it out. For the moment, let's. Okay, now let's. I'm gonna. I don't know what to do next. Oh, right. Yeah, I was gonna come over here. I'm just gonna stretch it out like that. And then I'm just gonna stretch it out like that. Oh, that's why that is getting such a hard edge there. And my billboard is clipping into the sphere. Yep, okay, let's pull that inward a bit more. There we go. Okay. That hopefully should do the trick. Let's export that one more time. Let's see, what time does Carl's stream start? Events. Carl's stream starts at 1300. It is now 11:29, so I've got another hour, I guess. No, yeah, I'm probably gonna keep this short. Ish. There's my phone buzzing. With something I can ignore. Okay, nope. Something screwed up. Something is screwed up with this texture. Yep, something got screwed up with the base rock texture, which means I'm going to have to fuss with it until I figure out what the heck went wrong. Because that should not be that visible. I mean, look at it. Those spires are just fine. Lighting. But yeah, ignoring the bright textures, that looks pretty good, I think. Yeah. That looks pretty good, I think. I didn't realize I still have my image folder still up in the back on the stream there. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to create a new light group. This is going to be rock stuff. And then this new bit here is going to go to dock rock stuff. I'm going to give that a new texture material as well. That might be what's causing me some issues. Okay. Switch to solid. I have no idea if what I'm about to try is going to even work or not, but I'm going to pull that inwards and I'm going to hope that by reshaping that to be a little more rounded, this will force the shading to recalculate itself. I'm gonna extrude that a bit bigger just because I think I need to do that, just to check, to test, and all that. Okay. And we're gonna do one more lighting export, and if it doesn't work, I am going to just get back to the lake water. Come on. Nope, it's still... So what are you that you're not bugging out? Okay, you are using texture, Cheststone. You're using the exact same texture. So... Oh. You know what is probably causing this? Wait, no, that's not it at all. What the hell? You're working fine. You're using the exact... Maybe it's just too big of a mesh? It might just be too big of a mesh now. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna assume it's way too big of a mesh. Oh, I'm gonna break it up. Smart UV project. There we go. Let's try that. And yeah, if splitting it up like this doesn't work, then I'm just gonna call it quits on the lighting and get back to the water. Which is what I wanted to do today anyway, but anyway, yeah. By selection. You do not need collision. You may need collision. Okay, I've split those up in a way that I feel is appropriate at least, so we're gonna try and export this again. Yeah, don't drink the lake water. Well, how about that? My plan mostly worked. Okay. That's funky. Okay, I know I said I was going to get back to the water, but, this is enrapturing my imagination. I need to figure this out now. What the hell is going on? I may need to lower the bottom of that background, too. Yep, I need to lower the bottom of this. Come on, select the right pieces. There we go. Okay, that should do the trick. Okay. Oh, the issue that I think I'm running into now is just the outside terrain new name. And then side island. it just the names? Did something happen with the object names? I rename it. I'm just kind of thoroughly confused at the moment. That did not do anything. It did bring the water line back down to a reasonable level in the distance, which I am okay with. And why are you so bright, but you aren't now? Seriously, what did I do to deserve this lighting kerfuffle? Right now, why am I having to deal with a lighting kerfuffle like this? Anyway, you can see now that when it darkens properly up there, it just blends into the distance and you can't really see where it goes, which is the look I want it to have. Okay. Screw it. Okay. Time to break this thing up by measures, I guess. I had this issue happen to me once in another age, Cavern Age. The only way I got around it was by completely remaking all of the geometry from scratch, which is not something I want to be doing. I don't know why it does this. And that was like several versions of Blender ago, too. By selection. It's probably just a glitch with the plasma engine, and I need to sort out what's going on, because it's looking correct in the Blender render, which is what always got me confused by it, too. Is like, it looks okay in Blender, so why is it not looking okay in game? And I really don't know. And there's my little cutout for the Nexus terminal. Right there. Just a big ol' hole in the collision. By selection. There we go. Now the question between this and this. What is going on with you? transform origin to geometry. Object, transform origin to geometry. Both should be fine. Force real-time lighting. Force real-time lighting, because this might need real-time lighting due to the dynamic shifting of things. Curiosity, how much of that did that fix just now? Okay. The thing is that they are sharing the same material. They're sharing the same texture and light property between them. I don't know why they're acting differently. They're sharing the same materials. I may just need to break them off into their own materials to make things easier for the calculations. Oh, that's going to up the size of the texture file, which, ugh. But would simplify the lighting calculations, probably. Okay. The light source. There's an animation on the light source. I don't want it to have an animation. That might be screwing things. Let me take the... Thank you for the suggestion on the light source. As I had inappropriate animations on several things already. So, thank you. I will remove the animations and you'll see if that fixes things. Thank you for suggesting I check the light source. Ugh. Yeah, that was likely it. That was probably it. Thank you, I wonk. Yeah, that was it. That was exactly it. The lights had erroneous animations on them. But now the whole piece of geometry looks funky. Because I split things up. Okay, I know what I'm going to have to do. Okay. You are going to be the Doc Rock stuff. Hold on. No. I don't want duplicate linked. I want just plain old duplicate. Because then I can bring you over here. Alright. And then the goal here is now I'm just gonna line up the edge of this with stalag things. I missed some frames there. Oh well. There we go. Okay, so if I space that out a bit. Let's smooth the vertex there a bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so, and then I'm going to duplicate that again. I'm going to put this here. Tab, scale it down a bit to make it thinner. And then I'm going to stretch the z-axis. Yeah, I'm just gonna select these bits here. I'm just gonna stretch them out a bit. Narrow, stretch, pull that in a bit. And that looks a little weird, so we're gonna select those. I'm gonna smooth the vertex a bit there. More. Yeah, there we go. So what we're going to be doing here is I'm just going to line the edges of this where it, where I have the seam in the geometry with, the stalag things, and it's gonna make that look a bit better, I think. Although, considering I just made a change on one of the textures, I'm gonna split this off real quick and export this real quick. And then, if that looks better, then I promise, we will get back to the The water. Hold me to it. Hold me to it, I want. Hold me to getting back to the water. Almost there. Almost there. Ah, okay. I think I fixed the lighting issue there. Although now we can definitely see something. Ah! What's going on there? That must be the fog layer I'm seeing. Yeah, I don't know. But that gives it at least a little bit of... And now these things are bright. Really? And I'm gonna have to fix the edging on that. Ugh. I don't know what's going on with the texturing. Okay, we'll get back to it another day. We'll get back to it another day, another stream, another day. But okay, I'm okay. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. This is okay. This is fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. Yeah, they're lamps, but they're not supposed to be full bright lamps. Okay, anyway, so we have our water geometry here. Woohoo! I am again going to hit Control A. And I'm going to extrude it all downwards. Now I'm going to select all of my top faces again. Actually, let me turn off the back face calling so I can see what I'm actually deleting. Boop, 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 boop. Anyway, yeah, water geometries. Get rid of the top faces. Am I missing something? Yeah, I'm missing something. That would it causes weird. Let me just say that it causes some weird seamage if you do not handle it correctly. Oop. I got rid of a face I should not have gotten rid of. Whoopsie. Whoop. Whoop. Boom. Boom. Okay. Now I'm thinking on it, I'm gonna grab all of these bits here, and then I'm gonna pull them up to here, which is roughly congruent with yeah. And let me select. No, I don't want to select that. I want to select that. Okay. Okay, we're gonna smooth this and and that's going to cause issues if I don't really fix that. I'm going to squeeze this in, pull it up. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now you can see we've caused some weird slopage down here. And basically what I'm going to be trying to do here is introduce as much of a... Come on. Out of the edit mode. I'm going to try to introduce as much of a implication of a... I'm going to try to introduce as much of an implication of a bottom of a shoreline as I possibly can. So, for example, I now need to come in, fix that. Pull that like so. Yeah. Anyway, so the idea here is that the water geometry is going to ripple and bounce around based on a few factors. And those factors basically boil down to how complicated of a geometry mesh do you have underneath the water. So like, see here, I'm coming along and I'm hitting randomize, and it's kind of screwing with the height of it a bit, but that's not quite as messy as I want it to be. So I'm gonna like grab a bunch of these, randomize. So yeah, basically the idea is just to grab some of these vertices and subdivide. There we go. But yeah, the more complicated your water geometry mesh under the water looks, the more actually complicated it will turn out to be. Yeah. So if I scale that in, I then want to pull it inwards a bit like this. I'm going to scale it on the y-axis a bit. But the goal of this is just to make a sort of a rough bin shape, if that makes any sense. I hope it makes sense. Otherwise, I'm not doing a good job of explaining. Okay, so here's one thing where I've just made a mistake. You see, this is basically, this corner looks a bit like it's going to cause me issues because I had it a bit too straight to the point it looked like the upper lip was further in than the lower lip, which, yeah, we got a bit here, so we don't want that. If we have it where it seems like the lower lip is further inward than the upper lip, that's going to cause issues with it come render time, and it's just going to look funky. And we do not want it looking funky. We do not want it looking funky at all. So I'm just going to pull these inward a bit. Yeah, basically the rough idea of all of this is just to give the impression of a fake seafloor underneath, so that way it animates like there's stuff on, like the water is at different heights, like the floor isn't smooth and all that. So yeah, now we have this, which is... there's a point where it might cause issues. yeah, we really just do not want this to feel like it's, we just do not want this to feel like it's going to overlap. And we want to try to make this feel as natural of a geometry as possible. And despite your gut instinct to wanting to make it so that it's not so terribly complicated to save on polygons, for a real-time water geometry, you really want to go against that instinct. You really, really, really want your water geometries to be as complicated of a mesh as possible, because the more complicated it looks, the better. The more complicated it is, the better it's going to look. I know that sounds like, like that makes sense, but it's kind of counterintuitive for Uru's general design philosophy, I want to say. Like, a lot of Uru is built around the idea of, we made this simply, then we applied really good textures, and now it looks really, really good. Okay. So that looks fairly complicated, right? Yeah. And we got some flat bottoms where we want everything to be implied flat. And yeah, I'm not going to worry about that in there. So we have our geometry here. Now then, I am going to open up a completely different blend file because I need to reference its water materials, which I referenced from Agira. So, I don't know if you're going to see it or not, but I'm opened up a different blend here. And I'm going to find the water geometry mesh, okay? And I'm gonna look at its settings. And I don't think you're gonna see it, so I'm just going to, you're just gonna have to trust me that I'm looking at a different blend file and getting its settings. So basically what's going on here is I'm going to activate this, and I'm going to, first and foremost, give this the geometry waves modifier. Woohoo! So here are the magic settings. The min length we want the waves to render at is 6. The max length is 10.25. Yes, I know, Homestuck number. The amplitude we're going to leave unchanged. Choppiness we're going to leave unchanged. The wave spread in degrees, we're going to change that to 45 degrees. And we're going to leave that there for the moment because I just realized I need to make an object. Or make a texture for this. Right. We're going to create a new texture. This is going to be called our lake texture matte for the coloring. Now the intensity, we're going to leave it 0.8. Ambient, okay. This is where we get to the diffuse color. I'm going to come in and copy this color settings for this. We're going to have the red at 1. We're going to have the green at 0.552? Is it 0.552? 0.552, that's correct. And then the blue is going to be 0.088. I'm going to go check the rest of the texture settings. This is not going to have a light group. It is traceable. It's going to use mist. It does not have a pass index, although honestly I probably should give it a pass index. But I don't think it's going to take the pass index. But at any rate, we're going to leave the pass index unchanged because there's nothing that that's going to chomp into it. But it's going to chomp into. We're going to go to our material in here. We're going to create a new material, Lake Orange. And here's where things get tricky. we're going to change our coordinates from UV, and we're going to change them to, or, no, hold on. That was the wrong folder. We're going to change our mapping, this image, we're going to change, hold on, I'm trying to find the right folders. Right. We got to first change this to environment map. That changes all of this stuff down here, including this. Okay. So, what exactly is an environment map? Well, it's the thing that you see in the water where it reflects all the blah, 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 blah. You know, all that stuff. All that good stuff. Yeah, so we have it set to environment map. We need to give it a viewpoint object, which we will get back to in a minute. First, I want to make sure I get everything else set up right. So the map, environment map settings, it's EWA, and the eccentricity is going to be, the eccentricity and filter size is going to be left in unchanged. Mapping, we want it to remain UV and flat. Now we're going to come down here to all this, color, mix, RGB to intensity, that's unchanged, custom properties. Okay, now comes the thing that people are probably going to be wanting it to have, but I'm going to disable render avatars because we're not going to be swimming in this water. And I want to make this water geometry as simple as possible, especially given everything. So we're also going to need a visibility set for our environment map, which means we are now come to the moment of truth. And that is, we're going to create an empty object, and this is going to be our environment map lake reflection site area. So now, to make sure that we have this at the right height, I'm going to take our location for the core object for the basin. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to my environment map, and I'm going to paste that in here so it is exactly the same height. Now, I'm going to pull this all the way out here into the middle. And now we're going to hit something very tricky because I have a feeling this is going to be kind of screwy if I mess this up. Just from experience. I'm going to come back here. Actually, no, we're going to go back to our empty, I think. Yeah, hold on. I need to map, like, okay. Triple check what I did here. Okay. Okay, right. Okay, our environment map is going to need the special plasma modifier, visibility control. I'm going to disable hydraulics, and we're going to change it to special FX. So this is the tricky part. This is the really, really, really tricky part of getting this correct. Because we are now going to create another empty I'm going to put in the same height again. This empty is going to be our wind and water height reference. It is not going to move from the place that it is. And in fact, I'm going to triply make sure that it is exactly where it needs to be by way of copy-pasting all of our coordinates for the origin for the water geometry. And we are going to set it to the exact same, set those coordinates so that the empty object's origin is overlapping our origin for the water. So if I toggle between them, you will see that the origin point is in exactly the same place. The reason for that is we're going to come here to the wind and water height reference. And we're going to set our wind object to wind and water height reference. We're now going to change the environment map to Lake Orange. And then we're going to change the wind speed to 0.01. And then the environment sphere, I'm going to go overkill for this size of an age, and I'm going to copy and paste that whole big environment radius. Now, you might be thinking this is a whole lot of complicated nonsense. And you would be right. We're still not done. I'm going to come back to the rest of these settings in a minute. We're going to go back to our material here. We're going to go to our texture for it. I'm going to set our viewpoint object as nmap lake reflection. Because that is the last thing we really need to do there. I'm going to take our data like so. Make sure that that is 256. Right. Okay, if I'm reviewing all of this, I think... environment map color. I need to reset the environment map color. That's something I messed up. Okay. .86. 0.656. 656. Gives a bit of an orange. Environment map lake reflection. Okay, none of that. Okay. Now we're going to come back to all this. Again, you might be thinking, boy, am I doing a whole lot of work to set up a water geometry. I was not kidding you when I said these are complicated. And, you could tell I was kind of putting it off a bit by getting distracted with all the lighting nonsense, even though the lighting nonsense did need to get fixed, but you can tell I was putting it off because this is... Anyway, for me, this is, -1 and 3. Start at 0. And at 20, start at 40, and at 100, noise 5, ripple scale 45, wave is starting at 0 and ends at 0.5. Now I need to adjust this, right? That's gonna be 0.7. Is that 0.7? 0.71. 0.71, okay. Then 0.259. 0.259. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to add texture waves. 0.78. It's a new modifier. 0.25. 45. Okay. So, back to this empty. The wave and wind height object. The wind and water height reference. Why did I name it that? Because this empty not only does its y-axis, I believe, yeah, the object whose y-axis represents the wind direction, but in a recent update that they still need to, which a future version will hopefully update the tooltip to specify, the z-axis represents the height at which the water level renders. So, if I end up with a situation where I need my water to raise and lower with the tide, what I'm going to have done is I'm going to mess with and I'm going to animate the height of my wind and height reference, because that now has the water geometry parented to that, and it will raise and lower that in the same breath. The thing that needs to be remembered is that if that object is not in the exact same, is not at the exact height you want it to be at, it doesn't matter where your water geometry mesh is, it will render based on the match on that origin point. And it could get very, 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 very confusing very quickly if you are not paying close attention to your heights and your locations and all that. Now then, we're going to exit out of this. And I am going to play it smart. And I am not going to select any of my in-world objects for reflection. I'm going to play it super simple. I'm going to add a visibility set. And this is going to go to our environment map lake reflection visibility set. So now our dome should reflect in the water here. And if we have done everything correctly, I'm going to exit out of the other blend. If I've done everything correctly just now, and if I have done everything correctly, and I pray that I have done everything correctly, when we export this, we should have live geometry waves in the age. Boy, aren't you putting a lot of work into it? Yes, I am! I am putting a whole lot of work into this. If I have done everything correctly, this is... Just trust me when I say this is a lot of work that will have paid off. Because if it hasn't, then I'm going to have to come back and revisit all of it, and rework it, and rework it, and rework it, and I do not want to rework it endlessly. I'm going to pray that I did it correctly by copy-pasting everything. Okay. I know it doesn't look like it, but we do have water geometry. It is very faint and very hard to see, but we have water geometry. Look at this. Problem is, it's not very bright, is it? Yeah, that would be because the sky dome I selected is not... It's not really giving us a lot to work with in terms of color. So, what to do? I'm going to go to my viewpoint object here, or my sphere. I'm going to get rid of the colon alpha, and I'm going to see if that fixes things a bit. If it doesn't, I have a fallback item to do, a fallback idea. So we're going to test this again. But we have water. We have working water. We just couldn't really see it all that well. So the trick that I'm thinking here is, and I have to play this very, very carefully with how I proceed on how I handle reflections, because I have run into issues with real-time water maps and environment maps where if I add something to it, it doesn't want to get unadded when I remove it later, which has caused me no end of issues in the Ratio apartment. Anyways. Yeah. That's not helping too much, although we can now really see more in the distance here. We have the water, we have the reflections going on. But, and this is a big but, it is not perfect. It is decidedly not perfect. And it is decidedly not perfect because it is not bright. It is not glowing the way that lake water should. Now, before I horrendously screw up, I'm going to smooth the shading on this, and I'm going to add this to my visibility set for the lake environment map reflections. And I'm going to see if that helps with things. And ideally it should. But we will see. $12:30. I should probably call this stream a wrap in a few minutes. We will see how this looks when we get in game, and then I will call it a stream, I think. Hey, there we go. Now we can really see the water reflections in there. That is some mighty fine looking water, if I do say so. What do y'all think? What do you think, I want? How is that water looking? I think this looks mighty fine and mighty fantastic. That is the bright glow that we're looking for. It's not quite perfect. It is not quite perfect. It's a little still too... It's super watery and super sparkly. It's not quite perfect how I want it. But, especially right in here where we can't really see the wave set too much, which is not surprisingly because we have a big, giant, dark set of cliffs above us. But it still feels a little, look at that. Now, if we look down, we can see it, but if we're not looking down, really, But yeah, we have water in here. It's a little hard to see right up close. But, oh yeah. If I go all the way up here, let's see how this looks from up here. Oh, yes, that is beautiful. That is very, very beautiful. Pull up. Let's go up here. Drop down. Bump. Oh yeah, I like that. That looks good. That looks fantastic. And the best part is we've sort of got two sets of reflections in there now. We have one set of reflections from the Sky Dome. And then we also have a set of reflections from the billboard. So if we zoom around there, you can kind of see that we've got two different tones of water there. Although I can see a hard edge there where I really don't want to see a hard edge, so I may have to expand that section out a bit. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to extend that section a bit. Let's check it out over here. Ooh, hello. That's a nice color gradients. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see a hard edge over there, too. I'm probably just going to have to pull the edges out a bit. But I am happy with that. I am very happy with that. In fact, to the point, I'm going to hit a print screen for my thumbnail. And, oh, yes, that is a great idea, I'm going to save this. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to save that explicitly just yet as my my linking panel, because I have things that are not finished yet in that dock scene, and I want it to be more more accurate. So anyway, come on, PFK. There we go. Stream thumbnail, and I'm just gonna. I'm assuming Jim. You're gonna see Jim show up here in a minute. Yep, there. Should be. Oh, you aren't seeing it. Anyway, I'm gonna save my Blender, close it down, into. Okay, now we have Jimp. There we go. We have Jimp as well. Okay, so I don't want an update. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to come here. I'm going to do my paste to new layer. And then I'm going to edit the... Get rid of the fog for the moment. I'm going to go to my text. And I'm going to edit it for today's thumbnail. This is going to be... Okay, what did I name this stream on Twitch? Overflowing Tides. Overflowing Tides. Water geometries. And then today is the 18th. And create a new layer. I really need to get rid of some of these, actually, let me give this an orange color. Yeah. I like the orange color there. Okay. That's more suiting for this, I think. And then we're gonna come on. Actually, I'm gonna switch back to white. Doop. And then I'll just go over this with the usual white. Gotta have that brand consistency in the thumbnails to some degree, you know? Alright, I'm gonna say, that is good. Save, file, export as, come on, thumb, dash, 1, 5. And that will be our thumbnail for this video on YouTube. That's the first time I've actually done one of these on stream. But I wanted that view. That looks great. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have fun at Karel's music streaming if you're going today. I will probably see you there. If you're watching this after the fact, yeah. Come visit us in the cavern anytime. If you are just watching this and you have no idea that Mr. Online New Live is still around. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I will catch you all on the flip side next time. Bye!